Next on Westmoreland Saturday morning, it's Heritage Happenings brought to you by St. Vincent College here on 98.7 Westmoreland Gold, 1480 WCNS, and westmorelandgold.net.
Greetings, Westmoreland County. My name is Jessica Petrovich, and I am your Discover Westmoreland Director and host of Heritage Happenings here on 98.7 Westmoreland Gold, 1480 WCNS, and westmorelandgold.net, sponsored by St. Vincent College. Heritage Happenings is also available as a podcast on all of your favorite streaming services. Please check out Westmoreland Heritage at westmorelandheritage.org and on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for updates on cultural and historical events throughout Westmoreland County. We have a delightful show planned for you today. We will be joined by guests from Baltzer Meyer Historical Society, as well as the Westmoreland Museum of American Art. Our first guest, Tom Harold, president of the Baltzer Meyer Historical Society, is on call with us this morning. Tom, thank you so much for joining us on today's show.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to everybody.
Good morning. Baltzer Meyer has an exciting event coming up, which we will talk about first. That is on August 21st, and it is your Ancestry Days. So, Tom, if you could talk more about this event for our listeners.
Yes, Ancestry Days is something that we've started a few years ago to introduce the area to our extensive genealogical and historical library at Baltzer Meyer. And for the month of August, the use of the library is free to anybody who comes there to use the research facilities.
Oh, how wonderful.
That also includes any fees that we usually charge for use of the library if you're not a member. Mm-hmm. And if you are, it's for free. We can do tours of the building. We've got 11,000 square feet of building, which is the old Zion Lutheran Church. And we also happen to have a schoolhouse that happens to have my last name on it that we open up for 2 tours between or at 1:30 and at 3 p.m. to show you exactly what it was like in the 1880s to go to school.
And the day of August 21st with, this month celebrating ancestry and having folks get to know their genealogical history, are there any special events planned for that day?
Yes, we have a demonstration of twining rugs, which is a very old weaving technique that we will be displaying. And then we have our standard running display of a collection of our photographs that we have collected over the last 27 years.
And for those of you who have never been to Baltzer Meyer, I just can't recommend it enough. It is so well put together. And really, I look at Baltzer Meyer as it's this collection of family history and community history. And Tom, I think that you have such a passion for all of that, and it's really clear in what you can see and experience at Baltzer Meyer.
Well, thank you. We have tried to put that all together, and in fact, the future plans is for us to build a memorial museum which will tell the stories and the lives of the residents of Westmoreland County, from the dog catcher all the way to any of the county commissioners. This isn't anything except to tell the stories of the people who have helped to build the county in the way that it has over the last 250 years.
And this leads so nicely into the next question I want to ask you. So Baltzer Meyer Historical Society is deeply involved in the community of Westmoreland County at large. So Tom, could you share some of the offerings Baltzer Meyer has for community members? You hinted towards the research library earlier. If you could tell us more about, if you're somebody in the greater Westmoreland County community, what can you find at Baltzer Meyer? What are some of those special things that you're able to do?
Well, the library itself has over 3,000 books that are cataloged and findable by almost anybody who walks through the door. It has a vast collection of cemetery records and church records. And then we have a whole wall full of books on Westmoreland County just as itself. Then there is another set of shelves, which is, I don't know, about 6 foot long, of just the townships, municipalities, cities, and a lot of the special events that have been held at the churches, plus a collection of yearbooks. We have over 200 books on just family histories that have been written specifically by family members for the history of each one of those families, and have been growing over those years of doing that. Some of them are in manuscript style, and there are quite a few that are in hardbound copies.
And Tom, this is a bit of a spontaneous question here that you just made me think of this. For folks who may have objects such as family histories or artifacts of any kind, what do you look for in a donation? Do you take anything? Are there specific requirements? I know that, as people are cleaning out their houses and maybe relatives' houses, what could you give to Baltzer Meyer that would be valuable for you?
I can tell you what we won't accept. We will not first take your first male born, no matter what you do. We have plenty of children of our own. But we will take just about anything that has to do with the history of your family or Westmoreland County. That includes any of the paperwork of their marriages and photographs. Our collection of photographs is well over 10,000 photographs.
Wow.
of various people. And we are in the middle of digitizing that so that it will be accessible in a short time once it's all finished. But we'll take books of any kind, journals, any of those things that have to pertain to the history of that loved one that you would like to have preserved and held on to for other family members in the future. To be able to see and investigate.
And it's so special that you take all of that, because oftentimes, you may not want to keep it in your own house, but you also don't want to just throw it away. Somebody took the time to gather all of that. So really, you being the resource for, okay, this is where we can take these precious memories. That's very special to have that in Westmoreland County.
Yes, and some of the ones we will usually post on our Facebook pages, unique or unusual ones that have come into us, and some of the pictures will make their way onto Facebook, and we share those with the community. In fact, yesterday we had just gotten a small box full of photographs and family trees that we are looking at, and if I remember right, it was part of the Bear family, which is a significant family in around the Greensburg area, Latrobe, Acme, Unity area. And we never know what we're going to receive in the mail. And it is like Christmas for us to go through those things. And again, then it gets cataloged and accessioned in, and we then turn it over to our digitizing department to let them get it digitized. And these pictures from 1903, and some of them are in Virginia. And you may ask, why are we keeping pictures in Virginia and Greensburg? And the reason is that it's part of the family, and some of the families came from those areas, and these are their early roots.
Right.
So, part of our library has a lot of the history books from any of the counties that are connected to Westmoreland County in one fashion or another.
And
go ahead.
And I just want to ask too, so you have all of these incredible resources, and I don't want time to pass by without me asking, are there any other special goings on events to look forward to in the upcoming fall months? Baltzer Meyer is open, and remind me of your hours that the public can access for all of these wonderful treasures that we've been talking about.
We are there on Wednesday evenings from 6 to 8, and then we are open on the first and third Saturday of every month. And you get onto our webpage, you can request an appointment by one of us or our research person and librarian ours. And it's not hard to find our webpage because it's just baltzermeyer.com. We found out that we're the only Baltzer Meyer in the world.
That's good. It's nice to be able to have that claim. And anything else to share, Tom, from Baltzer Meyer? Any upcoming special events or last notes you want to share with us this morning?
Well, we are going to be doing a Victorian piece this upcoming year. One of our members is going to play act being from the Victorian era and how mourning had happened over death, people who had passed away.
Oh, interesting.
And those. We also are working with the paranormal group. They may be giving classes on the paranormal of the world. We've found that we have a couple ghosts that live in the basement of our own building. Mm-hmm. And we are going to be doing that. And then this Friday, we have opened up that we will be doing a sip and paint session in the hall, our meeting room, which is jam-packed with pictures and artifacts. So when you get tired of painting,
you can just look up.
Scroll through the room. And that's a feature that we're working on. And then we just do our standard April, we have our open house. And then August is always our Ancestry Days. But we are looking forward to the possibility of doing, in November, we may do a Greensburg Then and Now program showing Greensburg then and what it looks like now and fill in some of the history on that.
And those are always so informative and wonderful to see. So if you have never been to a Greensburg Then and Now, make sure that you go and attend. Tom, thank you so much for your time this morning. This has been wonderful chatting with you.
Okay, thank you very much. And if anybody has things that they would like to pass on or preserve, we can make arrangements anytime. And thank you for your time today.
Please check out Baltzer Meyer Historical Society at baltzermeyer.com, and you can also find them on social media. This is Heritage Happenings, the show with the latest information on Westmoreland County cultural and historical events and organizations. I'm Jessica Petrovich. Thanks to our sponsor, St. Vincent College, for supporting our show today. Our next guest, Erica Knuckles, Director of Learning, Engagement, and Partnerships, is on call with us from the Westmoreland Museum of American Art. Erica, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jessica.
So first, Erica, I know it's been over a full year, which is hard to believe, since you began your incredible work with the Westmoreland, because listeners may remember your wonderful work with Fort Ligonier, and you have now been at the Westmoreland for over a year now. So if you could take us through your first year, share anything special that has happened along the way or stories that you'd like to share with us.
Oh my gosh, it's been such an incredible year. I can't believe it's been over a year since I started working with the amazing staff and volunteers and our patrons here who just all do such incredible work here to make the Westmoreland a wonderful cultural resource for our community. So some of the highlights of my first year with the Westmoreland, really, again, getting to work with the amazing staff, but especially getting to be here during a really incredible transition. Mm-hmm. I got to work with our now Chief Curator Emeritus, Barbara Jones, up until her retirement in April. She was with the Westmoreland for almost 27 years, so just being able to work with her, get that institutional knowledge from her, and now the exciting work of getting to know our new Chief Curator, Jeremiah William McCarthy, who just joined us recently, has just been an incredible opportunity. So excited to see where we've been and where we're going as a museum, and just really incredible, amazing exhibitions that have been here, like Simple Pleasures, The Art of Doris Lee, which Barbara was a co-curator of. The Stephen Towns Declaration and Resistance exhibition was amazing. and just being able to provide a wide variety of programming for a broad spectrum of visitors to the museum, often associated with these incredible exhibitions that come here, and also our permanent collection. I also just have had such joy connecting visitors with art, in particular, and of course a passion of mine and my position has been inviting school groups back to the museum and just providing that opportunity for students and teachers to be in the museum again and be able to spend some time with the amazing art that we have here.
You mentioned those two exhibitions, and I really, and everybody always says it was such a pleasure, but truly it was a pleasure to see the Doris Lee and the Stephen Towns exhibitions, and I'm sorry that they are both gone, but I know that we'll talk about some incredible upcoming work that the Westmoreland will be bringing in as well. So I'm so happy to hear it's been a wonderful first year, Erica. That's wonderful. And so it is now summer at the Westmoreland Museum of American Art, and that means plenty of opportunities for the whole family to enjoy your awesome exhibitions and programming. So if you could take us through some of the highlights throughout the rest of the summer, because there is so much going on that we could spend hours talking about it, but just some of the highlights and then into the beginning of the school year as well.
Sure. So our current exhibition in the Cantilever Gallery is Alone Together: Encounters in American Realism, which runs through September 25th.
I do need to come in and see that one. I have not seen it yet.
It's really amazing. It's very relevant. It features American realist artists from the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, but also artists today who work within that genre, whose work is really responding to and reflects the tumultuous times in which each artist lived. So it's very, very relevant, very relatable, and we just love having the Westmoreland be a space for people to sort of process and reflect what's happening to themselves and the world around them. So this exhibition is a really wonderful way to be able to do that. And so associated programming with that includes more traditional programming. If you want to learn more about some of the contemporary artists who are featured in that exhibition, we have an In Conversation program at the museum on July 27th that evening, where some of those artists will be able to talk about the work that they contributed to the exhibition and also how the exhibition was put together. But we also have things like mindfulness programming with people like Dorit Brower of the Brower Institute of Holistic Medicine. She's holding an Art of Seeing workshop, which includes a walk through Greensburg to learn how to train your artist's eye, but then also some meditation and art making, and that's on July 24th here at the museum. She's also doing a root chakra grounding workshop that'll be focused on meditation on August 7th here at the museum. And then we've been able to come up with other programming related to the exhibition. Like on August 10th at 6 p.m., we're having a film club where we're showing the film Big Fish, which is from that genre of realism or magic realism that appears in the exhibition, but also is a genre for literature and film. And it's just kind of a fun film that I think some people are familiar with to help you sort of understand what that genre of art in the exhibition is. We also have stuff coming up for kids as well. So we have on August 10th through 12th from 11 to 3, summer art camp drop-in days where grandparents, parents, or guardians can enjoy special activities with kids and art making opportunities, and it's just a fun time where people can just drop by the museum and have some extra things that they can do that are really family friendly. We're also doing a college night silent disco on August 25th.
Explain. So that sounds wonderful.
It seemed like the perfect thing to go along with the exhibition Alone Together because what visitors can do, and it's open to everybody, not just college students, so it is open to all ages, but we will have visitors that that can put on headphones, and they can pick one of two different DJ playlists that'll be happening live. And they can wander the galleries and kind of groove around depending on what kind of mood they're in to listen to some music. And
I've
really
never heard of this.
Like...
That's fabulous. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then they can kind of connect, whatever feeling they're getting from the music with different pieces of art and just kind of experience the museum in a very different way that is fully with the theme Alone Together.
How creative is that? Oh my goodness. Well, that is something I need to put on the calendar then.
Yeah, definitely. I also just wanted to mention, too, that we have a current artist in residence, Janelle Young, who's been doing some really great stuff during her residency. And in August, she's going to be doing a mural on the Laurel Highlands Opportunity Workforce Center in Greensburg that's on Donahue Road. So she'll be doing that public art piece, but she also has some great programs scheduled during her residency, including a virtual program on July 18th at noon, which will be featuring Janelle and other artists so that they can really explain to people what a residency is.
I just saw that on Facebook because I think I may attend to learn more about that experience. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and she's also doing a coloring book party for families on Sunday, September 4th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the museum, too. So there's just something for everyone here at the museum this summer and then moving into the fall.
And that's a perfect transition, Erica, because my next question is, we have so much going on at the Westmoreland. And are there any new or fan favorite events or exhibitions that visitors will want to check out this fall, if you want to give a little teaser of that?
Yes, I'm really excited to share that we have two really amazing exhibitions coming this fall. They're both opening October 16th and will be running through February 5th, so there'll be plenty of time for folks to check them out. The first one, which will be in our Cantilever Gallery, is called Gatecrash: The Rise of the Self-Taught Artist in America. And so it's all about these different self-taught artists, really featuring artists like Horace Pippin, who was from the Philadelphia area. Some people might be familiar with the artist Grandma Moses, Anna Mary Robertson, Grandma Moses. But of particular interest to our region is the artist John Kane, who really the name Gatecrashers was because of him. He was a Pittsburgh-based artist. He was an immigrant from Scotland who worked in many of the classic industries of Pittsburgh at the turn of the 20th century, and he was a self-taught artist who was featured at the Carnegie International at the Carnegie Museum and really sort of crashed the gates of the art world.
Wow.
So that's going to be a really cool exhibition with great local ties, and we are excited to be partnering with people like the Heinz History Center, who have an exhibition on John Kane, the artist, right now too. So we have these great connections happening with some of our partners in Pittsburgh. The other exhibition that will be opening on October 16th also, that's going to be in our paneled rooms at the other end of the museum, which we're going to be reopening as gallery spaces. Those have been used by our artists in residence throughout the pandemic, so we're going to be reopening those galleries, is a show by the Pittsburgh artist Gavin Benjamin, who was one of our artists in residence last year in 2021.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah, and what's super special about his show, it's work he started working on during his residency, where he was connecting with members of the Black and immigrant community of Greensburg and the surrounding area here in Westmoreland County. And he was inspired by works in our permanent collection. He's a photographer, and so he used that inspiration and then connected with these members of our community to use them as the subjects in his works.
Wow.
So there will literally be members of our community on the walls of the museum at that show by the artist Gavin Benjamin. And we, of course, have great programming planned for each of these exhibitions, too. So lots of things to look forward to this fall at the Westmoreland.
Erica, thank you so much for sharing all of this. And just, there is never an excuse to say, I don't know what to do this weekend, because there's always something happening at the Westmoreland. And I'll just close by asking, is there anything else that you'd like to share before we close out here?
I just want to remind folks that we are open Wednesdays through Sundays from 10 to 5, and admission is free to view the permanent collection and our temporary exhibitions here. We're so it's such an amazing opportunity that we can offer free admission, and we just want to make sure that people know that they can come here, visit the museum during our regular hours for free, stop by for just a quick visit with a painting, or to spend a whole afternoon here. We just encourage people to come and enjoy their museum. That's an amazing resource for them here in Westmoreland County.
Erica, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, Jessica.
Please check out the Westmoreland Museum of American Art and all of their amazing events, exhibitions, and programming at thewestmoreland.org, and you can also find them on social media. This is Heritage Happenings, the show with the latest information on Westmoreland County cultural and historical events and organizations. I'm Jessica Petrovich. Thanks to our sponsor, St. Vincent College, for supporting our show today. Exciting news from St. Vincent College. The Fred Rogers Center for Early Learning and Children's Media has become the Fred Rogers Institute. On Monday, May 23rd, they unveiled their new name, rebranding to formally become the Fred Rogers Institute. And we have a nice quote from Dr. Dana Winters, the endowed executive director of the Fred Rogers Institute. She says, "Today, on the 143rd day of 2022, we announce a new name, mission, vision, and values. The Fred Rogers Center for Early Learning and Children's Media is now the Fred Rogers Institute. We hope our new name better communicates who we are as an organization." The new mission of the Fred Rogers Institute is to advance the legacy of Fred Rogers by investing in the strengths of families and caring adults to support the healthy development of children. Practice-focused pillars and initiatives at the Fred Rogers Institute will still feature the Fred Rogers Archive, fellowships, opportunities for St. Vincent College students, child wellness resources, simple interactions, Educators Neighborhood, and the Educators Symposium. Each of these pillars and initiatives is driven by the core values of the Institute, which are relationships, belonging, families, and caring adults and children. More information can be found on the new website, fredrogersinstitute.org, or by contacting Dr. Dana Winters at dana.winters@stvincent.edu. That's all we have time for today. Be sure to stay safe and healthy. Take some time to visit and enjoy our Westmoreland County cultural and historic sites and events. And of course, be sure to check out St. Vincent College and all of its recent accomplishments. Follow Westmoreland Heritage on social media and check out all of our information on westmorelandheritage.org. This has been Jessica Petrovich, your Discover Westmoreland director and host for Heritage Happenings here on 98.7 Westmoreland Gold, 1480 WCNS, and westmorelandgold.net, sponsored by St. Vincent College. Heritage Happenings is also available as a podcast on all of your favorite streaming services. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Until next time.
How will your college experience transform you? How will you learn to make a difference in your life and the lives of others? At St. Vincent College, we attract high-achieving students who quite naturally place we ahead of me. A small college like St. Vincent gives you more access to the opportunities that will shape your future.
At St. Vincent College, we succeed together.
Together.
Discover the power of we. Learn more now at stvincent.edu.